Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are looking into ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding customs,
That's right.
and I am joined by my expert to help us really kind of dig into this.
Absolutely.
We have two main sources that we're looking at today.
Okay.
One is this really interesting document called Ancient Jewish Betrothal and Wedding, the Hidden Christ Revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also got this really neat article from Haaretz.com just talking about Jewish weddings.
Interesting.
So let's jump right in.
Yeah, sounds good.
What's so fascinating about ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding?
Well, the first thing that really pops out to me is that unlike today, it wasn't just one event.
Right.
Back then it was a process
Okay.
with two distinct parts.
Got it.
And both of them are just chock full of symbolism and meaning that, we're going to dig into today.
Oh, awesome. I love symbolism in media.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So, okay, let's set the scene.
Okay.
We're going back 2,000 years to ancient Israel.
Wow.
You know, what a wedding looked like back then?
Yeah, what would be different from a wedding today?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that would probably stand out the most is the fact that, unlike today, ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding involved two separate ceremonies.
Okay. So I guess no romantic proposals with a diamond ring under the moonlight?
No, not quite.
Okay.
The concept of a diamond engagement ring is a much later addition to the tradition.
Okay.
We actually get that one from the Romans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So in ancient Israel, the betrothal, or Erusin, yes, was basically a legally binding commitment.
Oh, wow.
Much like marriages today.
Okay.
It was really considered like the official start of the journey towards marriage.
So it was more than just a promise.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was a serious legal thing.
Absolutely.
This document mentions a marriage contract called a ketubah.
Yes.
Can you imagine like signing a marriage contract written in Aramaic?
I know.
It's just wild.
The ketubah is really an incredible document. Essentially, it outlined all the responsibilities of the groom to his bride, including financial protections in case of divorce.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty forward-thinking for the time.
Yeah.
It gave women a certain level of security that they wouldn't have had in other cultures.
Yeah, it's amazing how, these ancient traditions have so much to teach us even today.
Exactly.
So, they're setting clear expectations right from the beginning.
Right from the get-go.
Then there's dowry and bride price.
Yes.
That sounds like straight out of a history book.
Right.
You don't hear those terms too much these days.
Well, you don't.
But it's interesting to see how, those financial aspects were woven into ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding as well.
It's fascinating.
So the dowry was money or possessions that the bride's family gave to the groom.
Right.
Basically signifying her contribution to the new household.
Yes. And on the flip side of that, we have the bride price.
Okay.
Which is paid by the groom.
Okay.
To the bride's father.
Wait, so the groom actually had to pay?
To marry her.
That's right.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it might sound a little strange to our modern ears.
Right.
But I think we have to remember the context of the society back then.
Okay.
A woman's work was incredibly valuable to her family.
Yeah, I can see that.
So the bride price served to kind of acknowledge the family's loss of her labor.
Okay.
And it also demonstrated the groom's commitment and the value that he placed on his bride.
Got it. So it wasn't just like a transaction. It was more symbolic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was about recognizing her importance within the family.
The document even gives an example from the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
With Jacob.
Right.
Working for 7 years to marry Rachel.
That's right.
I mean, that's some serious dedication.
It speaks volumes about his commitment.
And then what I find really fascinating is that ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding really stands in contrast to like what was happening in the surrounding cultures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where women didn't often have these kinds of protections. Exactly. The ketubah and the bride price really set ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding apart, showing just how much they valued respect and security within marriage.
Yeah, it's incredible how these ancient customs reveal such a deep understanding of commitment and responsibility within marriage.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious, we've been talking about the groom and his family.
Right.
Did the bride have any say in all of this?
That's a great question.
It seems a little one-sided.
Yeah, well, while families were often the ones making the arrangements,
Okay.
the bride's consent was super important.
Okay.
A great example is the story of Rebecca in Genesis 24.
Good.
She willingly agreed to marry Isaac.
Okay.
And the Hebrew term date specifically refers to that willing consent,
Wow.
emphasizing her choice in the matter.
So it wasn't like she was blindly following tradition.
No, no, not at all.
Like her voice and her choice were respected.
Absolutely.
The document also mentions this cup of the covenant.
Oh, yes.
It sounds so symbolic.
It really...
Can you tell me more about like what it represented for the couple?
So during the betrothal ceremony,
Okay.
the couple would share a cup of wine,
Mm-hmm.
and over this cup, a blessing was said,
Okay.
invoking God's presence and blessing upon their union.
Oh, wow.
Wine in Judaism, it represents both joy, but also the seriousness of the commitment they were making.
Okay.
It was a powerful symbol of their two lives being intertwined as they began this journey together under God's blessing.
It kind of reminds me of communion in the Christian faith.
I could see that.
Where we share the cup
Yeah.
as a symbol of covenant and unity.
It's a beautiful connection.
Yeah.
Ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding is just full of this rich symbolism that resonates so deeply with our Christian understanding of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The cup of wine during the betrothal was a way to show their promise,
Right.
not only to each other, but also to God.
Mm-hmm.
It was a covenant sealed with the most precious element in their culture.
That's a powerful image.
It is.
And speaking of precious things,
Okay.
were gifts involved?
Oh, yes.
Was it anything like the gift giving we see at weddings today?
Definitely. Remember the story of Eliezer
Yeah.
when he was searching for a wife for Isaac?
Uh-huh.
He brought lavish gifts for Rebekah,
Yeah.
including 10 camels laden with treasures.
Wow. 10 camels.
Oh, that's a lot of gifts.
That's a grand gesture, for sure.
It is.
What about the ring?
Yeah.
Is that a traditional gift?
The betrothal ring that we know today actually evolved over time.
Okay.
Back then, the groom would give a coin
Okay.
or some kind of token
Okay.
for the bride to remember him by during the time they were apart.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So the ring, as a symbol of love and commitment, came later.
It's amazing how traditions kind of evolve over time,
They do.
but still carry the heart of their meaning,
Yeah, the essence remains the same.
The document also mentions a mikveh.
Oh, yes, the mikveh.
Sounds like a pretty important ritual.
Oh, it's very important in Jewish tradition.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So the mikveh is a ritual bath used for purification.
Okay.
Brides would traditionally immerse themselves in the mikveh before the wedding.
Okay.
It was a symbol of cleansing
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual preparation for this new chapter.
So it's like a symbolic washing away of the past.
Exactly.
And then stepping into marriage with a fresh start.
Precisely.
But here's something I found surprising.
Okay.
After the betrothal,
Yeah,
the groom would actually leave for up to a year.
that's right.
Why is that?
Well, after the betrothal ceremony,
Mm.
the groom would go back to his father's house
Yeah.
to prepare the wedding chamber for his bride.
Oh, okay.
And this separation could last for months,
Wow.
sometimes even a whole year.
A whole year?
Yes.
That's a long time.
It was a period of anticipation and preparation,
Yeah.
both practical and spiritual.
That must have required a lot of trust and commitment.
Absolutely a testament to their devotion.
It reminds me of that passage in John
Okay.
where Jesus talks about going to prepare a place for his followers.
Yes.
It's like this beautiful parallel
Yeah.
between Jesus as the bridegroom
Uh-huh.
and his followers as the bride,
It's a profound image.
waiting for his return.
Beautiful.
And during this time of separation,
Yes.
the bride was considered consecrated,
That's right.
belonging only to her betrothed.
Exactly. The Hebrew term kala means the secluded one.
Wow.
It really emphasizes this dedication and devotion.
So it wasn't just a physical separation.
No.
It was a spiritual one, too.
Absolutely.
The bride was set apart, dedicated to her future husband.
Yes, a beautiful picture of commitment.
It's amazing how these ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding customs
Yeah,
weren't just about tradition,
right.
but about reflecting a deeper spiritual reality.
Exactly. It was about understanding marriage as a covenant,
Right.
a sacred union that reflected the divine love between God and his people.
And the Song of Songs talks about dove's eyes, symbolizing faithfulness, purity, and even the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
It speaks to the spiritual depth of the betrothed woman's state.
Yeah.
She was set apart, her heart and her gaze fixed on her beloved.
There's such a beautiful image of devotion and anticipation.
It is.
So the groom is preparing the wedding chamber.
Yes.
The bride is preparing herself.
Mm-hmm.
What happens next?
Well,
Does the groom just show up one day?
not quite.
Okay.
Only the groom's father knew the exact timing of the return.
Oh, wow.
It was a moment shrouded in mystery and anticipation.
Yeah.
The bride had to be ready at all times because she never knew when her beloved would come for her.
Wow. Talk about living in a constant state of readiness.
I know.
That makes the moment of his return even more dramatic.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Imagine the scene. It often happened at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Shofars sounding shouts of joy echoing through the streets.
Wow.
A torchlight procession
Oh.
leading the groom to his bride's home.
That's amazing.
It was a grand, joyous occasion. Yeah.
Marking the culmination of their betrothal period.
Right.
And the beginning of their life together.
I can just picture it.
I know, it's amazing.
All the excitement.
Yes.
The joy.
The anticipation.
Yeah, but that's just the arrival, right?
Right.
What about the actual wedding ceremony itself?
A huppah.
Yes, the huppah.
Well, so the huppah, it's actually two things. It's the ceremony itself,
Yeah.
but it's also the bridal canopy
Okay.
that covers the couple during the ceremony.
Okay.
Originally, way back when, the huppah was a special room
Okay.
in the groom's father's house.
Got it.
And it symbolized, the bride's transition to her new family.
Okay.
The word Nissuin.
Nissuin.
Yeah, which refers to the wedding ceremony.
Okay.
It means carrying away or lifting up.
Okay.
So you can see how that emphasizes the bride's journey
Yeah.
from her family to her new life with her husband.
So it wasn't just like a physical moving. It was like a symbolic elevation.
It's
Whole new beginning.
It's just incredible how much meaning is packed into these ancient customs.
I know, it's fascinating.
What else happened during the wedding ceremony?
Well, one of the key parts was the 7 blessings,
Okay.
known as the Sheva Baracho.
The Sheva Baracho.
Yeah, and these are chanted during the ceremony,
Wow.
and they've been a part of Jewish weddings for centuries.
Wow, that's amazing.
They express hopes for happiness and prosperity
Okay.
and the fulfillment of God's purpose for the couple.
The blessings sound beautiful.
They are.
What kind of things do they say?
Well, each blessing has its own unique meaning,
Mm-hmm.
but altogether they paint a beautiful picture
Okay.
of hope and blessing for the couple.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a reminder that their union isn't just, a personal thing,
Right.
but it's woven into the fabric of Jewish tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and it's blessed by God.
That must be such a powerful moment for the couple.
It really is.
I was reading that one of the most well-known parts of a Jewish wedding
Yeah.
happens at the end.
You're thinking about the breaking of the glass.
Yes. What's the significance behind that?
It's such an iconic moment.
It is.
And it's full of symbolism.
Okay.
Originally, the glass that was broken was the same glass
Okay.
that was used to seal the betrothal covenant.
Wow.
So breaking it at the end
Yeah.
symbolized the irreversible change that had just happened.
Right.
The betrothal's over.
Right.
The marriage has begun.
What a great way to end the ceremony.
It is.
Like a dramatic flourish.
Yeah.
And such a powerful reminder of what marriage is,
Absolutely.
this
This
transformation.
new chapter.
And then, of course, comes the party.
Oh, yes, of course. No Jewish wedding would be complete without a celebration.
Right.
The marriage supper, or Suda mitzvah,
Okay.
is a time for everyone to come together
Yeah.
and celebrate the new couple.
That sounds like a blast.
Oh, it is. It could last a whole week,
Wow.
filled with music and dancing.
Yeah.
And heartfelt blessings.
It sounds just incredible.
It's a beautiful tradition.
Thinking about these two distinct parts,
Mm-hmm.
the betrothal
Yeah.
and the wedding ceremony,
Uh-huh.
they really seem to mirror the relationship
Yeah.
between Christ and the church.
That's a profound observation.
The betrothal with his covenant and that anticipation.
Yes.
It's like the time when we as believers are engaged to Christ.
Okay. Yeah.
We're committed.
Yeah.
But we're waiting for his return
Right.
and the wedding feast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that echoes the ultimate celebration
Yes.
when Christ returns for his bride, the church,
Right.
and we experience that full union.
That's a beautiful analogy.
It is. I love how these ancient customs,
Yeah.
even though they're rooted in a specific culture and time,
Mm-hmm.
they can speak to these universal truths
They really can.
about love and commitment
Absolutely.
and that longing for ultimate union.
It's a testament to the enduring wisdom of these traditions.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Right.
Customs have evolved.
But the core values at the heart of ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding,
Yeah.
this commitment and responsibility and joy,
Yeah.
and that sacredness of the marriage bond
Mhm.
still holds so much meaning.
Yeah, they do.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding offers us a glimpse into a world where marriage was approached with such intentionality and depth.
It's amazing.
What do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners today?
Well, I think it's a challenge for us
Okay.
to really reflect on our own understanding
Yeah.
of commitment and the sacredness of marriage.
Yeah.
Regardless of our background or our beliefs,
Right.
ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding remind us
Yeah.
that marriage is a journey. It's not just a destination.
Right.
It's a journey filled with anticipation and preparation,
Yeah.
and ultimately a joyous celebration.
I love the journey with anticipation, preparation, and celebration.
That's it. It makes me think about how we approach our own relationships and commitments.
Yeah. In a world that often trivializes love and commitment,
Yeah.
I think we all have this deep longing for something more.
Right.
A love that endures, a
Yeah.
covenant that binds,
Mhm.
and a celebration that echoes throughout eternity.
Wow. It's just amazing, how these ancient Jewish customs have so much to teach us even today.
It's truly remarkable.
Ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding really gives us this incredible window
Yeah.
into how seriously they took marriage back then.
Absolutely.
Not just as some, social contract,
Right.
but as this reflection of God's covenant with his people.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It makes you think about how we view marriage today.
Yeah.
Do we approach it with the same kind of intentionality and reverence?
It's a good question for all of us to consider,
Yeah.
especially in a culture that often, prioritizes instant gratification
Yeah.
and those fleeting emotions. Ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding really challenges us to rediscover the beauty of a love that is built on something more.
Yeah.
A love that's built on commitment and sacrifice.
Right.
And that understanding of that sacred bond
Yeah.
between two people.
You know what really stood out to me?
Yeah.
Was that emphasis on waiting
Mm-hmm.
and anticipation.
Absolutely.
The groom preparing the wedding chamber.
Right.
The bride preparing herself.
Yeah.
Not knowing when he would return.
Yeah.
It speaks to a level of patience and trust that's kind of hard to find these days.
It is. It's a powerful reminder that some of the most beautiful things in life are worth waiting for.
Absolutely. And just as the ancient Israelites anticipated the coming of the Messiah,
Mm-hmm.
we as believers are called to live in that same state
Yes.
of hopeful expectation,
Right.
preparing our hearts for that ultimate union with Christ.
Absolutely. We're all brides in a sense.
Yes.
Waiting for our bridegroom to return.
But we're not just supposed to sit around doing nothing,
No, not at all.
like the bride in those ancient traditions.
Right.
We're called to prepare ourselves
Yes.
to be ready for that glorious day.
That's right. That period of betrothal. It's a time of intense preparation,
Yeah.
both practical and spiritual.
And our lives as believers
Yeah.
should be marked by that same commitment
Absolutely.
to growth and sanctification and deepening our relationship with Christ.
Yes.
It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life
It is.
and lose sight of that.
Yes.
But ancient Jewish betrothal and wedding is like this wake-up call.
Yeah. To keep our eyes fixed on the prize.
Yes.
To live with eternity in view.
And to prepare our hearts
Yes.
for that wedding feast of the Lamb.
What a beautiful image.
It is. I'm feeling incredibly inspired.
Me too.
This deep dive has really challenged me
Yeah.
to think about marriage and commitment and my own relationship with Christ in a whole new way.
It's amazing how these ancient traditions can speak to us so powerfully even today.
They remind us that true love is worth fighting for,
Absolutely.
that commitment is a sacred bond,
It is.
and that the greatest joy is found in union with the one who loves us most.
So well said.
That's the perfect note to end on.
It is.
Thank you so much to my expert
Oh, yes, sure.
for guiding us through this incredible journey back in time.
Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive
Yes, we did.
into ancient Jewish marriage customs
Fascinating stuff.
and their relevance for us today.
Absolutely.
If you did enjoy it, be sure to subscribe to our channel
Yeah.
for more fascinating deep dives.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.